So today we're going to meet my good friend Divya Vaswani, who is the owner of Divya Vaswani Interiors. We've done multiple projects together, we've done flips, we've done home remodels, we've done renovations together, and she is a pro and the top tier when it comes to taking on a renovation project or doing any type of interior design. So let's go say hey and let's get some perspective from her. Let's go. Divya, what's happening? How are you? Good to see you. Hey, sweet baby. I know the sweet baby. Good to see. Okay, so we're here with my good friend Divya Vaswani, who, as I told you earlier, is the owner of Divya Vaswani Interiors. And we've done a lot of projects together. And, you know, I have a lot of people that are moving to Atlanta that are like, hey, should we just maybe buy a house and do the renovations ourselves? And who do you recommend? And this is always who I recommend because, you know, with the multiple projects we've done, every time you get done, it's like, wow. So, hey, I wanted to just take a moment, introduce everybody to you, and then just, hey, tell us how did this business come about? What inspired it?
Really happenstance. It was a hobby growing up, you know, picking out fabrics and paint colors for bedrooms, and you know, more and more I did it, more and more I got used to the idea of it, and then friends started asking, hey, can you come help me pick out a paint color? Can you pick out bed sheets or shower curtains, even as a teenager? And it just kind of grew from there. And after having my older son in 2013, I wanted to work part-time, and so, you know, I had a client reach out, or a friend actually reach out and say, hey, you know, I'm moving to a townhouse, would you be able to help me? And that just kind of launched my career from there. Right,
because I remember we sold your townhome, and it was in Dunwoody back in 2018, I think it was 2017.
2017 or so. And that was like a guinea pig for me, like wallpaper and curtains and fun furniture. So that was my first project that was my own, that we really, like, I got to put my personal stamp on it.
Because I remember, because I used to tell you, I was like, you got to do your own interior design company.
Yes, you actually helped me push towards that direction.
I like hearing that. I like hearing that. I like to be an inspiration. All right, so with the new home that you and VJ purchased, I noticed, you know, the basement was unfinished, and then it's like, it's finished, which it's one of your projects. It's got your signature all over it. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration, because I mean, when I saw this for the first time, I was like, as always, wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we bought the house, it, you know, finished first 2 floors, and we knew that eventually the basement would get finished. It just took a while. We were here for 2 years, and as our boys were getting older, we realized we needed a little bit more space for them to run around, and we always envisioned that, you know, the kids' friends would come to our house, so we wanted a cool space for them to hang out in. So once we started with the project with the basement, it was segmented into 3 parts already. So we knew we weren't going to tear down walls. We just wanted to build around what was existing. So we have like an area where it's more fun. We built a little bar and a little kitchenette, and the living room area is over there, and we added a bedroom and a bathroom down there too. But inspiration, you know, I wanted it to be still timeless. That's a word we hear all the time, but it's so true. Like, you know, this room itself probably isn't the most timeless room. It's more trendy and fun, and you know, I did pops of color here and there, and I try to go by the 80-20 rule, 80%.
The Pareto principle. I know about it.
Yeah, pretty timeless, neutral colors, and 20% pops of color and design. And this room was probably my entire 20% back here, just because, you know, the rest of my house is very neutral and black and whites and grays, and I didn't want to.
And stunning.
Thank you.
As always.
No, thank you. It's, you know, I wanted a space where we could have fun and have a drink and invite friends over, turn music on, and just hang out. And you know, the boys ended up watching games down here. And
Tampa Bay
Buccaneers. I cannot do it without that plug.
Right.
But no, we actually, it's funny, we kind of coined this basement our mullet. Like, it's
I love this.
Serious in the front, party in the back. So, you know, when you walk in, it looks like a traditional living room. You got the TV in there, sofa and all that. And then you kind of step back here and it's just like, whoa, this is really different.
Right.
You know, I wanted some Indian touches too, just to pull in a little bit from my heritage.
Sure.
A fun sign over there that means mischievous. Musty means mischievous.
Okay. I wasn't sure what that meant.
And I got some wallpaper in, which we can show you later on when we do our tour. But, you know, just wanted pops of color, things that, you know, if I do get sick of it down the road, they're easy things to swap out, which I always tell clients, like, you know, if you want to do a pop of color here and there, maybe don't do it in the biggest space, because it'll be a lot harder to change over time when your tastes change. So, you know, little things here and there, we can always move things around, and pops of color here and there, I think, bring joy to the space.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, when you do a basement or you do a house with this style, let's just say from the selling perspective, even though this increases the value X amount based on having a finished basement, this just creates a bidding war. Just this whole vibe, you know. So I love it. So you're going to be doing my condo, right?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
I know.
I'm ready for the go ahead.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while.
For a long time. I know you have a brick wall. I've seen a picture of a brick wall.
I do have a brick wall.
So that's going to be the focal point. I do remember seeing
that. Yes. I need to get in there and like the kitchen, because I'm a dude.
Probably not used very much. The kitchen.
Yeah, it's not used very much. My girlfriend, the first time she looked in my fridge, she's like, "Oh, I feel so sorry for you." But I am job security for a restaurant. I mean, for restaurants around the area, because I patron them very often. But this is not about Richie eating out at restaurants. This is about Divya. So I know how the process works, you know, with the houses we flipped in the past, right? But if I've got somebody that's moving to Atlanta and they, you know, they want to buy a fixer-upper and do it all themselves, what does that process look like when I say, "Hey, Divya, I need you to meet with my good friends from California"? What's that look like?
Usually if they're in town, I'd love to go take a tour of the space with them. Think about what are they looking for? What's the budget look like? What's their timelines look like? You know, is it just little paint and light fixtures here and there, or are we gutting the entire space and having to order things from scratch? So that's usually the beginning part of it. Like, what's your vision for this space? How can I help you? I have a lot of clients that want to go along with me and go pick out flooring, and they want to go pick out tile. And then I have some clients that don't want anything to do with it. Bring me a couple options and I will pick A, B, or C for you. So it really depends on the client and their personality, right? And from then on, you know, I have contractors that I work with a lot. Other people refer contractors. So it really depends. If you want to work with yours, if you want to work with mine, I'll come in and bring a consultation in with them as a group and just talk about what you're looking to do and the scope of the overall project. And then we go from there with pricing and timelines. And I think I tell everybody now versus more than ever, like, be patient. You know, very
we know
patient.
That with new construction.
Yeah, 100%. And I try to provide options that are in stock, so it helps from delaying projects even more. You know, we may see this beautiful tile for a bathroom, but it may not be available for 12 to 16 weeks or 3 months, 4 months.
Or 6 to 8 months.
Exactly. So I always try to provide things like, okay, I know it's in stock, you know, here are your options. That way we're not waiting on something specific, because that's when things get delayed and delayed and delayed. And that's when frustration starts. So I think the biggest thing is be patient. Let's get everything ordered and in the house before we even begin renovations is my biggest key, biggest takeaway.
Exactly. And the fact that she has her own contractors is huge, right? Because, you know, my family's in construction. I got a background in residential and commercial. However, the main thing I hear from, you know, my dad, my brother, who are still in the residential and commercial side, is just the contractors. You know, I mean, they have theirs because they've been in business for so long, but I can't ever get them to come all the way to Atlanta. And people I've worked with in the past, I won't refer anybody anymore unless I've got 5 years solid with them.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about my business is I do have a book of contractors I work with. Emmanuel with Ian Bath and Home and Renovations, he did this basement, and you know, I got to project manage it. I was there when they were renovating. I got to text him, call him, be like, hey, you know, I want this instead of this, or maybe this tile is a little bit off. So I was there every step of the way to ensure that the process was seamless. And I think, you know, that takes time. That took years of relationship building and projects here and there. So I think that's a big bonus to having a designer on your team. Absolutely. And another thing that was mentioned is the project management side. I mean, it's one thing just to give everybody the options and here's the contractors and do it, but overseeing it almost like a GC level. It really is, That means general contractor. Just, I hate the acronyms. I want to define it, right? But that's huge. It is. And I've worked with Divya on multiple projects, and there's one thing about you. The I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and the boxes are checked. I hope so. I know they are. You and VJ both. Yeah, there's a sense of accomplishment for checking out that box for sure. That's so awesome. Hi, I'm Divya from Divya Vaswani Interiors, and welcome to my basement.
right, so for me, music's my thing,
Yes.
right? And when I see this, it just makes me think of like the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, very psychedelic, but in a sense,
Absolutely.
very strong, very noble.
Yes, yes.
It's fun.
It is really fun. I saw it in an Instagram reel of a friend who owns a hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they created this hotel called The Refuge, and one of the rooms had a version of this wallpaper in it.
Nice.
And I immediately reached out to him. I said, "Where can I get it?"
Right.
And so, after some cyber stalking, I figured out where to get it. And I knew I had to have it somewhere in the basement. Hopefully, I want to get a bench put here, like a place to sit, hang out, have a drink, and
I want to set a tablet.
yeah,
right
something.
here.
Maybe we put your drum set right here.
Yeah.
No, it just, the colors just spoke to me. It was vibrant, it was fun. I still think it's very tasteful. And, again, like I said earlier, down the road we decide, it's too much, or we're selling the house and need to get rid of it. It's an easy thing to swap out.
Nah, I wouldn't swap that. This would be the front picture of the listing for me. All right, so I'm curious to know about this wallpaper,
Yeah.
fireplace. Tell me everything about this room.
This room, like I mentioned earlier, it was a blank slate. We had a wall here. We already had a wall like framing there, so we knew that this was going to be the living room area. We had sofas from our last house, so we kind of planned around that.
Okay.
TV was the first thing that was purchased.
I know it
before.
was.
So really, this wall, the partition of this wall was built based on the size of this TV.
I can see VJ already getting the
Yes.
specs on everything.
100%.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted like that faux cement finish without actually having to bring in cement into the
Oh.
space. So we had this hand painted. The room was actually finished, and I kept thinking I want to do something to these arches. We added in these arches too, but I wanted to, let that pop a little bit. So I found this wallpaper on Amazon, out of all places.
Okay, nice.
I have an amazing wallpaper installer, so in a day's time he put this in, that colorful wallpaper in the back.
Okay.
So that to me just brought in the finishing touches to the space.
It
I have a
did.
little bit of the dark blacks, charcoals, kind of weave throughout. With the furniture, the wallpaper, back in the bar area, the countertops. So I always like to have little pops to kind of, throughout the space. It kind of makes it really cohesive then.
So thank you so much. That was so much fun. It's always great to see you and just seeing the new project, and the new property. This is amazing, and I'm just so excited for all your success, and just thank you so much for having me over.
Anytime. Thanks for coming over.
Absolutely. See you next time. Oh, close.
Close. Let's see. There's an art to it.
Don't get me obsessed. Like, I'll be down here for hours.
That's my son. One more shot.
All right. Hold on.
Close
No, that's not. That don't count. All right. Here's my last shot. Look at that.
Woo! Got it.